Captain Ta-Jun Kim watched the battle from the command center. Large screens showed the fight happening at the border of Alliance space. Baiko sat beside him, eyes fixed on the same screens. The attack had come exactly where they expected. 20 Herok ships had appeared near the moon Talara 3 days ago. They carried at least 50 war spiders, now moving toward the Alliance defense line. All units, engage enemy forces. Admiral Du-hyun's voice came through the speakers. The blue-skinned Centaurian stood at the front of the command center, directing the battle. On the screens, the Alliance's best weapons moved forward. Centaurian battle platforms floated above the ground, their energy cannons already firing. Arcturus war droids marched in perfect lines, each one as tall as 3 men. The first shots hit the war spiders. Bright flashes of light showed where energy weapons struck metal bodies. 2 of the spider machines fell, their legs no longer working. Direct hits. Someone shouted. A cheer went up in the command center. Ta-Jun did not cheer. He watched closely, feeling that something was wrong. The war spiders were falling back, but too easily. The Herok were known for their clever battle plans. "It's working," said Commander Yoon-suk, who stood next to Ta-Jun. "The mechanized units are pushing them back." "It's too easy," Ta-Jun replied. "The Herok must have a plan." As if hearing his words, the battle suddenly changed. A strange blue light spread from the lead war spider. It moved like a wave across the battlefield. On the screens, the Alliance units began to move oddly. Some stopped completely. Others began firing in wrong directions. "What's happening?" demanded Admiral Du-hyun. "Some kind of jamming field," said a technician. "It's affecting all targeting systems." Ta-Jun understood immediately. "They've disabled our technology. The mechanized units can't aim or coordinate." Now the war spiders attacked. They moved with surprising speed for such large machines, rushing forward on their 8 legs. Their weapons fired at the confused Alliance units. One by one, the battle platforms and war droids fell. "Order a retreat," said Admiral Du-hyun, his voice tight with anger. "Sir, half our units aren't responding to commands," said the communications officer. "The jamming field is blocking all signals." Ta-Jun stepped forward. "Admiral, let me take the handler teams to the front. Our hounds don't rely on technology for targeting. They can still fight." Admiral Du-hyun hesitated. On the screens, more Alliance units were falling. The battle was becoming a disaster. "Very well, Captain," he said finally. "Take your teams and do what you can. But your primary mission is to cover the retreat of our remaining forces." "Yes, sir," said Ta-Jun. He turned to leave, Baiko already on his feet. Before they reached the door, a new alarm sounded. On the main screen, 5 more war spiders had appeared. They were different from the others, larger, with red markings. The command units. "We can't retreat now," said Commander Yoon-suk. "Those command units will cut off our escape route." Just then, one of the screens showed a direct view of the battlefield. A group of Alliance soldiers were trapped, surrounded by 3 war spiders. Among them was General Jeho, the Arcturus leader who had mocked Earth's combat hounds. Captain Kim called Admiral Du-hyun. "Your new orders are to rescue General Jeho and his team, then cover the retreat." "Understood," said Ta-Jun. He looked down at Baiko. "Ready for a real fight, boy." Baiko's ears perked up, and his body tensed, ready for action. Commander Yoon-suk put a hand on Ta-Jun's shoulder. "Be careful. Those war spiders have already destroyed our best units." "Our best machines," Ta-Jun corrected him. "Now let's see how they do against Earth's best friends." He ran from the command center with Baiko at his side. The other handlers would be waiting at the transport bay. They had trained for this moment, even if the Alliance hadn't believed in them. Now, with their technology failing, the Alliance had no choice but to trust in the Earth-Bred Hounds. "The war spiders have a weak spot under their bodies," Captain Ta-Jun Kim said, pointing to the hologram floating above the large round table. "Our hounds spotted cooling vents there. 2 weeks had passed since the mission to Talara. Ta Jun and his team had returned with valuable information about the Herak's new weapons. Now he stood before the Alliance War Council, 12 leaders from different worlds. The council room was huge, with high ceilings and walls covered in star maps. Representatives from all 12 Alliance species sat around the table. Some looked like humans, but most did not. There were beings with blue skin, extra limbs, scales, and even one that looked like a cloud of gas inside a special suit. Commander Yunsuk sat to one side, nodding as Ta Jun spoke. Beiko lay quietly at Ta Jun's feet, watching everything with alert eyes. "Thank you, Captain Kim," said Admiral Du Hyun, the blue-skinned Centaurian who led the council. "Your report is thorough, but I have concerns about your methods." Ta Jun stood straight. "What concerns, Admiral?" "You put your entire mission at risk by using these animals," said Du Hyun, looking down at Beiko with doubt in his eyes. "A proper stealth drone would have gathered more data and been less likely to be spotted." Several council members nodded in agreement. "With respect, Admiral, no drone could have adapted as quickly as our hounds did," Ta Jun replied. "When the patrol came near our position, Beiko found us a safe path without needing new orders." General Ji-ho from Arcturus laughed. His scaled skin shimmered under the lights. "Captain, your loyalty to your Earthways is admirable, but outdated. Against these war spiders, we need technology, not pets." "Beiko is not a pet," Ta Jun said firmly. "He is a soldier bred and trained for combat." "A soldier that cannot hold a weapon," said Ji-ho. "A soldier that cannot understand complex tactics." Beiko growled softly, as if he understood the insult. Ta Jun placed a hand on the dog's head to calm him. "My hound understands more than you think, General," said Ta Jun. "And sometimes instinct is better than programming." No machine would have noticed the small vibrations in the ground that warned us of the approaching war spider before it appeared on any sensors. Admiral Du Hyun raised a hand to stop the argument. "What matters now is how we respond to this Herak threat. The war spiders are clearly designed for an invasion of Alliance space." Commander Yunsuk spoke up. "Captain Kim's team believes the Herak will attack within a month. We must prepare our forces." "Agreed," said Admiral Du Hyun. "I propose we send our best mechanized units to the border. The Centaurian battle platforms and Arcturus war droids should form our main defense." Ta Jun stepped forward. "Admiral, I request that the Earth handler teams be included in the frontline defense." A wave of surprise murmurs went around the table. "You want to send dogs against war spiders?" General Ji-ho asked with disbelief. "This is not a hunting trip, Captain. Our hounds are not just animals," Ta Jun insisted. "They are bioengineered combat units with enhanced strength, intelligence, and senses, and they can target the weak spots we identified." Admiral Du Hyun shook his head. "The risk is too great. Earth handler teams will provide rear support only. The mechanized units will lead the defense." Ta Jun wanted to argue more, but Commander Yunsuk gave him a warning look. "Yes, Admiral," Ta Jun said, though his voice was tight with disagreement. As the meeting continued, plans were made for the defense of Alliance space. Battle platforms would be positioned at key points. Drone squadrons would patrol the borders. And the Earth handler teams, with their combat hounds, would be kept in reserve, far from the main battle. When the council ended, Ta Jun and Beiko walked with Commander Yunsuk down the long hallway outside the council chamber. "They're making a mistake," Ta Jun said quietly. "The Herak will have planned for our technology. They won't expect our hounds." Commander Yunsuk sighed. "I agree with you, but the council has decided. We must follow orders." Beiko looked up at his handler, as if asking a question. "Don't worry, boy," Ta Jun said, patting the hound's head. "They'll see what you can do soon enough." The scout ship landed quietly on the moon Talara. Its dark hull blended with the night shadows. Captain Ta Jun Kim and his team stepped out onto the rocky ground. 3 other handlers with their combat hounds joined him. Lieutenant Suho with his brown hound Duna, Sergeant Hawan with her black hound Milky, and Corporal Jaita with his spotted hound Tori. "Remember, this is just a scouting mission," said Ta Jun. "We find the Herrick, gather information, and leave without being seen." The others nodded. Their hounds stood alert, waiting for commands. Each dog wore light armor that protected vital areas but allowed them to move freely. Small cameras were attached to their collars. "Beko, scout," Ta Jun said softly. His white hound moved forward, sniffing the air. The other handlers gave similar commands, and the 4 dogs spread out in different directions. Through a small screen on his wrist, Taijun could see what Beko's camera saw. The other handlers watched their own screens. This way, the dogs could explore dangerous areas while the humans stayed safe. After an hour of slow movement through the moon's rough landscape, Beko's camera showed something strange. A large metal structure gleamed in the distance. "Everyone, freeze," Taijun whispered into his communicator. "Beko has found something." He signaled for Beko to move closer, but stay hidden. The dog crept forward, keeping low behind rocks. As he got closer, the structure became clearer. It was a Herok base, just built. And outside the base were 6 large objects that looked like giant metal spiders. "War spiders," Taijun said quietly, just like in the reports. Each war spider was as big as a small house. They had 8 metal legs and a round body where a pilot would sit. Weapons stuck out from all sides. They looked deadly and strange. As they watched, a door in the base opened. Several Herok soldiers walked out. They were tall, thin aliens with 4 arms and hard shells covering their bodies. They looked a bit like insects but walked on 2 legs. 2 Herok climbed into one of the war spiders. The machine came to life, its legs moving smoothly as it rose up. It began to walk in a circle around the base, probably on patrol. "I'm sending the images back to command," Taijun said. "This is exactly what we came to find." Just then, Hawan's voice came through the communicator, sounding worried. "Captain, Milky has spotted something to the east. More Herok coming this way." Taijun checked his map. "They must be a patrol. We need to move." "Too late," said Suho. "They've changed direction. They're heading straight for our landing site." Taijun thought quickly. If the Herok patrol found their ship, they would be trapped on this moon. "New plan," he said. "We need to create a distraction. Jaita, take Tori and lead the patrol away from our ship. The rest of us will continue gathering intel on those war spiders." Jaita nodded and moved away with his spotted hound. Meanwhile, Taijun signaled for Beko to get closer to the war spiders. The machine was amazing. As it moved, its legs adjusted perfectly to the rough ground. Its body stayed level even when walking over large rocks. Taijun could see why the Alliance was worried about these weapons. Suddenly, Beko's ears perked up. He had heard something. The dog turned his head, and through the camera, Taijun saw another war spider coming from behind a hill. This one was moving directly toward Beko's position. "Beko, hide," Taijun commanded urgently. The dog ducked behind a large rock just as the war spider came into full view. This one was different from the others. It was bigger, with red markings on its legs. More weapons were attached to its body, and its metal shell looked thicker. "That must be the commander's unit," Taijun whispered. His communicator beeped. It was Commander Yoon-suk. "Captain Kim, report," said the commander's voice. "Sir, we found the war spiders," Taijun replied quietly. 6 units, plus what appears to be a command unit. They're even more advanced than we thought. "Can your hounds detect any weaknesses?" asked Yoon-suk. "We're working on it, sir," said Taijun. "But we might have been spotted. Request permission to withdraw." There was a pause before Yoon-suk answered. "Negative, Captain. The Alliance needs this intelligence. Get closer." Captain Taijun Kim watched as his combat hound Beko ran through the training course. The white dog with black markings jumped over walls, crawled under barriers, and attacked the training dummies with perfect precision. Vaco was not just any dog. He was an Earth-bred combat hound, enhanced with the best bioengineering Earth could offer. "Good boy, Vaco," said Ta-Jun as the dog returned to his side. He gave Vaco a small treat from his pocket. The training area was inside the Galactic Alliance military base on Outpost 7. Around them, aliens from 12 different worlds trained with their own weapons. Most used machines and robots. None used animals like Earth did. Tai-Jun heard laughter behind him. He turned to see 3 officers watching him. One was tall with blue skin, another had 4 arms, and the third had scales instead of skin. "Still playing with your pet, Captain Kim?" asked the blue-skinned officer named Hansol. Though he had a Korean name, he was from the planet Centauri. Many aliens in the Alliance had adopted Earth names to make communication easier. "Vaco is not a pet. He's a combat unit," Ta-Jun said calmly. He had heard these jokes many times before. The 4-armed officer, Junho, laughed again. "You Earth people are so primitive. Why use animals when you could use machines? My battle drone can think faster, move quicker, and never needs rest." "And it never thinks for itself," said Ta-Jun, patting Vaco's head. "That's the difference." The 3 alien officers walked away, still laughing. Ta-Jun sighed. Earth was the newest member of the Galactic Alliance. The other races had been traveling in space for hundreds of years before humans left their solar system. They saw Earth's ways as old-fashioned and simple. "They don't understand us, do they, boy?" Ta-Jun said to Vaco. The dog looked up at him with intelligent eyes. Ta-Jun's communication device beeped. He tapped it and heard the voice of his commander. "Captain Kim, report to Briefing Room 3 immediately." "Yes, sir," Ta-Jun replied. "Come, Vaco." They walked through the busy hallways of the base. Soldiers and officers from many worlds moved around them. Some gave curious looks at Vaco. Earth was the only world in the Alliance that used animals in war. In the briefing room, Commander Yoon-suk was waiting with several other officers. He was human, one of the few high-ranking Earth officers in the Alliance forces. "Captain Kim, we've received reports of HFY activity near the border of Alliance space," said Commander Yoon-suk. "Your team will investigate." The HFY were an aggressive alien race that had been attacking Alliance planets for years. They were known for their brutal tactics and strange technology. "What kind of activity, sir?" asked Ta-Jun. Commander Yoon-suk touched a control, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed a strange machine that looked like a giant spider. "This is a HFY war spider," he explained. "Until now, we only had rumors about these weapons. But a scout ship captured this image 2 days ago before it was destroyed." Ta-Jun studied the image. The war spider was massive, with 8 legs and what looked like weapons mounted on its body. "Your mission is to confirm if the HFY are deploying these war spiders near our border," said Commander Yoon-suk. "And if they are, gather as much information as you can without engaging." Captain Do-hyun, an officer from Arcturus, spoke up. "Commander, with all respect, is Captain Kim the best choice? This mission requires technological expertise, not pets." He looked at Vaco with clear disdain. Commander Yoon-suk frowned. "Captain Kim and his team have the best record for stealth reconnaissance in this sector. And Earth-bred hounds have senses that your machines cannot match." Ta-Jun nodded in thanks to his commander. "You leave in 6 hours," said Commander Yoon-suk. "Prepare your team." As Ta-Jun left the briefing room with Vaco at his side, he felt the eyes of the other officers on his back. They didn't believe in him or his hound. "We'll show them what we can do, Vaco," he whispered. The white dog looked up at him, alert and ready. They had a mission to complete, and they would not fail. The transport ship shook as it flew toward the battlefield. Inside, Captain Ta-Jun Kim stood with 12 other handlers and their combat hounds. Through the small windows, they could see flashes of light where the fight raged on. Listen up, Ta-Jun said loudly so everyone could hear. Our orders are to rescue General Jeho and his team, then cover the retreat of Alliance forces. Lieutenant Suho raised his hand. Captain, with all respect, a rescue mission isn't the best use of our abilities. We should target those command spiders. Several handlers nodded in agreement. Their hounds sat alert, ready for battle. I know, said Ta-Jun. And that's exactly what we're going to do. The other handlers looked at him with surprise. But you just said our orders, Sergeant Howon began. Our orders come from people who don't understand what our hounds can do. Ta-Jun cut in. If we just rescue the general and retreat, the war spiders will follow and destroy even more of our forces. He pulled up a map on the small screen on his wrist. It showed the battlefield, with red dots for war spiders and blue dots for Alliance units. We'll split into 3 teams, he explained. Team 1 will rescue General Jeho as ordered. Teams 2 and 3 will circle around to attack the command spiders from behind. Captain, that's directly against orders, said Corporal Gaita. We could be court-martialed. Only if we fail, Tai-Jun replied with a small smile. If we succeed, they'll be too busy thanking us to punish us. The transport began to descend. They were getting close to the drop point. The Alliance has always seen our hounds as inferior to their machines. Tai-Jun continued. This is our chance to show them what Earth-bred combat units can really do. He knelt down next to Beiko and checked the dog's light armor one last time. The white hound looked up at him with trusting eyes. The war spiders have a weakness, Ta-Jun reminded everyone. The cooling vents under their bodies. Our hounds can target these spots, but they'll have to get very close. The other handlers nodded. They all understood the risk. The war spiders had already destroyed dozens of Alliance units. Sending their hounds against them was dangerous. I'm not ordering anyone to follow this plan, said Ta-Jun. If you want to stick to the official orders, I understand. There was silence for a moment. Then Lieutenant Suho spoke. Duna and I are with you, Captain, he said, placing a hand on his brown hound's head. One by one, the other handlers agreed. They were all tired of being treated as second-class soldiers by the Alliance. The transport ship landed with a bump. The door opened, and cold air rushed in. Outside, they could see the battle in the distance. The sound of weapons fire was loud. Team 1, with me, said Sergeant Howon, moving toward the door with 4 other handlers and their hounds. We'll get the general. Team 2, circle east, said Lieutenant Suho. We'll take the smaller command spider. Team 3, with me, said Ta-Jun. We're going for the lead spider. Just as they were about to leave, Ta-Jun's communicator beeped. It was Commander Yoon-suk. Captain Kim, I've been monitoring your communications, said the commander's voice. You're planning to disobey direct orders. Ta-Jun's heart sank. He hadn't thought their transport's communications would be monitored. Sir, I can explain, he began. No need, said Commander Yoon-suk. I should stop you. But the truth is, your plan is our best hope. Sir, Ta-Jun was surprised. Attack those command spiders, Captain, said Yoon-suk. Show them what Earth's handlers and hounds can do. I'll cover for you with Admiral Do-hyun. Thank you, sir, said Ta-Jun, relief in his voice. Don't thank me yet, said Yoon-suk. Just succeed. And come back alive. The communication ended. Tai-Jun looked at the other handlers and their hounds. Everyone was ready. Let's go, he said. The teams moved out, each in their assigned direction. Beiko ran at Ta-Jun's side, his white fur standing out against the dark ground. Ahead of them waited the biggest, most dangerous war spider on the battlefield. It was time to show the Alliance what an Earth-bred hound could do. Team 3 crouched behind a large rock formation. Captain Ta-Jun Kim, with Beiko, and 3 other handlers with their hounds, watched the lead war spider. It was huge, nearly twice the size of the others, with bright red markings on its metal legs. That's the one, Tai-Jun whispered. The Herat commander must be inside. Through his small binoculars, he could see the war spider moving across the battlefield. Its 8 legs stepped carefully over broken machines and rocks. Its weapons turned in all directions, looking for targets. "How do we get close?" asked Handler Da1, a young woman with short black hair. Her greyhound Stormy lay beside her, watching the war spider with careful eyes. "We need a distraction," said Tajun. He touched his communicator. "Team 1, report." Sergeant Hao 1's voice answered. "We've found General J.O. He's alive, but hurt. 7 survivors with him." "Can you get them out?" asked Tajun. "Yes, but we need to draw away the war spider that's guarding them," said Hao 1. Tajun thought quickly. "Team 2, what's your status?" Lieutenant Suho responded. "In position near the smaller command spider, ready to attack on your signal." "New plan," said Tajun. "Team 2, create a distraction for Team 1. Draw that war spider away so they can rescue the general." "And what about the lead spider?" asked Suho. "We'll handle it," said Tajun. "Wait for my signal." He turned to his team and Beiko. "We need to get closer before we attack. The cooling vents are small targets." Handler Da1 pointed to a line of broken battle platforms. "We can use those for cover." Tajun nodded. "Good. Move slowly and stay low." The team began to crawl forward, keeping behind the broken machines. Their hounds moved with them, staying close to the ground. Years of training had taught the dogs to move silently, even in battle. As they got closer to the war spider, Tajun could feel the ground shake with each step of the massive machine. Its metal legs were as thick as trees. Its weapons could destroy a battle platform with one shot. Tajun's communicator beeped softly. It was Commander Yunsuk. "Captain, Admiral Du-hyun is asking where you are," said the commander. "I told him you're on the rescue mission." "Thank you, sir," Tajun replied quietly. "We're almost in position." "The Alliance forces are still retreating," said Yunsuk, "but the war spiders are following them. You need to stop those command units now." "Understood," said Tajun. "Team 2, begin your distraction." On the other side of the battlefield, flashes of light appeared. Team 2 had attacked one of the smaller command spiders, drawing its attention. "Now Team 1, get the general out," said Tajun. He watched as more flashes appeared near where Team 1 was located. The war spider guarding General Jiho turned and moved toward the new threat. "It's working," said Handler Da1. "The spiders are separating." Tajun nodded. "Now we need to get under that lead spider." He looked at Beiko and the other 3 hounds. Each wore light armor that protected vital areas but allowed them to move freely. Small weapons were attached to their sides. Not guns, but devices designed to disable machines. "The cooling vents will be hot," Tajun warned the other handlers. "Our hounds need to place the disruptors and get out fast." He reached into his pack and pulled out 4 small metal discs, each the size of his palm. The other handlers did the same. These were EMP disruptors, designed to shut down machines when placed in the right spot. "One hit to the main cooling system should disable the spider," said Tajun. "But we need to get close." He attached the disruptors to Beiko's armor. The white hound stayed perfectly still, understanding the importance of the moment. "Remember your training," Tajun told Beiko, looking into the dog's intelligent eyes. "Find the vent, place the disruptor, then get out fast." Handler Da1 suddenly pointed toward the lead war spider. "Captain, look." The massive machine had stopped moving. Its top section was opening. A Herat commander was emerging, looking out at the battlefield. "He's checking the situation," said Tajun. "This is our chance, while he's distracted." He gave the signal to the other handlers. It was time to attack. "Beiko, go," he whispered. The white hound moved forward, silent as a shadow, with the other hounds close behind. They ran low to the ground, heading straight for the motionless war spider. Beiko moved like a ghost across the battlefield. His white fur was now covered in dirt, making him hard to see against the dark ground. Behind him, the other 3 hounds followed, each one focused on their target, the massive lead war spider. Captain Ta-Jun Kim watched through his binoculars. His heart beat fast as he saw the hounds getting closer to danger. The HFY commander was still visible, standing in the open hatch of the war spider, looking at the battle in the distance. "Just a little closer," Tai-Jun whispered. "Don't look down. Don't look down." But the HFY commander did look down. He spotted the approaching hounds and shouted something in his language. The war spider's weapons began to turn. "They've been seen," Handler Do-won said in alarm. Tai-Jun grabbed his communicator. "Baiko, evasive maneuvers. All hounds, spread out." The 4 hounds immediately split in different directions as the war spider fired its first shot. A blast of energy hit the ground where Baiko had been just a second before, sending dirt and rocks flying. "We need to help them," said Handler Do-won, standing up. "No," said Ta-Jun, pulling her back down. "Our hounds are faster and smaller targets. We just give the spider more to aim at." The war spider fired again and again, trying to hit the running hounds, but the dogs were too quick, darting between rocks and debris. The HFY commander was shouting orders, clearly angry that his massive machine was being challenged by what looked like simple animals. Tai-Jun watched as Baiko circled around to the back of the war spider. The other hounds were doing the same, using the spider's own legs as cover. The machine couldn't turn fast enough to keep track of all 4 hounds at once. "Smart boy," Tai-Jun said proudly. "Get under it." As if hearing his handler's thoughts, Baiko darted between 2 of the massive metal legs, disappearing under the body of the war spider. The other hounds followed his lead, each taking a different entry point. The war spider began to move in circles, trying to stomp on the hounds or shake them off. Its legs smashed into the ground with enough force to crack rock, but the dogs were too agile. Ta-Jun's communicator suddenly crackled. "Captain Kim, this is Team 1, said Sergeant Ha-won's voice. "We have the general and the survivors, heading to the extraction point now." "Good work," Tai-Jun replied. "Team 2, status." Lieutenant Suho's voice answered, with sounds of battle in the background. "We've disabled 1 small command spider, but we're pinned down by another. Could use some help." "Hang on," said Ta-Jun. "We're working on the lid spider now." Through his binoculars, Tai-Jun could no longer see the hounds. They were somewhere under the war spider, looking for the cooling vents. The HFY commander had gone back inside, closing the hatch. The war spider was now moving randomly, trying to crush whatever was beneath it. "Come on, Baiko," Ta-Jun said quietly. "Find the vent." Then he saw it, a small flash of light under the war spider. One of the hounds had placed an EMP disruptor, then another flash, and another. 3 of the 4 disruptors had been placed. "One more," said Handler Do-won, who was also watching. "They just need 1 more." The war spider suddenly stopped moving. A loud humming sound came from its body, growing higher in pitch. "The cooling system is overheating," said Ta-Jun. "The disruptors are working." A panel opened on the bottom of the war spider, and steam rushed out. This was the main cooling vent, now exposed as the machine tried to release the excess heat. "There's the opening Baiko needs," said Ta-Jun. Through the steam, Ta-Jun caught a glimpse of white fur. Baiko had found the main vent and was positioning himself to place the last disruptor. Suddenly, a mechanical arm shot out from the spider's underside, grabbing at Baiko. The hound dodged, but the arm followed, trying to catch him. "No," Ta-Jun shouted, standing up. "Baiko, get out of there." But Baiko didn't retreat. Instead, he charged directly at the arm, jumping over it at the last second. As he sailed through the air, he dropped the final disruptor into the open vent. There was a bright blue flash from under the war spider. All its lights flickered and went dark. The massive machine froze in place, then slowly began to tilt to one side. "It's going to fall," shouted Handler Do-won. Hounds. Retreat. 3 dogs shot out from under the disabled war spider. The gray, brown, and black hounds. But there was no sign of Bako. The war spider crashed to the ground with a deafening sound, sending up a cloud of dust and debris. When the dust settled, the once mighty machine lay still, its legs twisted, and its weapons silent. But of Bako, there was no sign. Bako. Captain Ta-Jun Kim shouted as he ran toward the fallen war spider. Bako, where are you? The other handlers followed him, calling for their own hounds. The 3 dogs that had escaped, Stormy, Midnight, and Copper, barked loudly, running around the fallen machine. Their handlers hugged them with relief, but Ta-Jun kept looking for his white hound. He must be trapped under there, said Handler Do-One, pointing to the war spider. The machine lay on its side, its legs bent at odd angles. Smoke rose from its body where the disruptors had overloaded its systems. It was a huge metal wreck now, no longer the fearsome weapon that had destroyed so many Alliance units. Ta-Jun's communicator beeped. Captain Kim, this is Admiral Do-Hyun. Report your status. Ta-Jun hesitated before answering. He had disobeyed orders by attacking the command spider directly. Sir, we've disabled the lead war spider, he said finally. But I've lost contact with my hound. Request assistance to check for survivors in the spider. There was a pause before the Admiral replied. Survivors? You think the Herak commander lived through that crash? I don't know, sir, said Ta-Jun. But my hound Bako is missing. Another pause. Captain, you were supposed to be rescuing General Jiho, not attacking the command spider. General Jiho is safe, sir, Ta-Jun replied. Team 1 has him and is heading to the extraction point. Just then, Handler Do-One shouted and pointed. Captain, look. The hatch is opening. The top hatch of the fallen war spider was indeed moving. Slowly, it lifted open. Get back. Ta-Jun ordered, pulling out his weapon. It could be the Herak. Everyone moved away from the spider, taking cover behind rocks. The 3 hounds growled, sensing danger. A figure appeared at the hatch, but it wasn't the Herak commander. It was much smaller and covered in dirt and oil. Bako. Ta-Jun shouted in disbelief. The white hound stood in the open hatch, looking down at them. In his mouth, he held something that looked like a piece of the Herak commander's armor. How did he get in there? Asked Handler Do-One. He must have entered through the cooling vent after placing the disruptor, said Ta-Jun. Bako, come. The hound jumped down from the hatch and ran to his handler. Despite being covered in oil and dirt, his tail wagged happily. Ta-Jun knelt and hugged his dog tightly. Good boy, he said, his voice thick with emotion. You did it, Bako. You really did it. The other handlers gathered around, patting Bako and praising him. The white hound dropped what he was carrying, a piece of the Herak commander's control device. Ta-Jun picked it up. This is part of their control system. Alliance scientists can study it to understand how the war spiders work. Captain, said Handler Do-One, her voice suddenly serious. Look inside the spider. Ta-Jun stood and saw what she was pointing at. Through the open hatch, they could see inside the command module. The Herak commander was still there, slumped in his seat, and there was a lot of green blood. Did Bako? Handler Do-One didn't finish her question. Ta-Jun looked at his hound with new understanding. Bako hadn't just disabled the machine. He had taken out the commander too. He must have gone in through the vent and attacked the Herak directly, said Ta-Jun. That's why the spider fell. It wasn't just the disruptors. The communicator beeped again. Captain Kim, what's happening there? Asked Admiral Do-Hyun. Ta-Jun looked at Bako, then at the fallen war spider. Sir, I think you should come see for yourself. My Earth-Bred Hound didn't just disable the war spider. He gutted it from the inside. Around them, the sounds of battle were fading. On the horizon, they could see the remaining war spiders retreating. Without their command units, they were falling back. Sir, Taijun continued, "The war spiders are retreating. We've won." Admiral Du Hyun's voice had a new tone when he replied, "I'm on my way, Captain. And good work." Taijun smiled and patted Bako's head. "You hear that, boy? Good work." From the Admiral himself. The White Hound looked up at him, his intelligent eyes seeming to understand everything. Then he sat down, tired but proud, next to the war spider he had defeated. The hound they had mocked had done what no machine could do. He had turned the tide of battle. 1 week after the battle, Captain Ta-Jun Kim stood in the center of the Alliance War Council chamber. Bako sat next to him, his white fur clean and bright again. The hound wore a new collar with the Alliance symbol on it. All 12 council members were present, including Admiral Du Hyun and General Jeho. The large room was silent as Admiral Du Hyun stood up to speak. "Captain Kim," he said, his blue skin glowing under the lights, "the Alliance owes you and your handler teams a great debt. Your actions saved many lives and turned what could have been a terrible defeat into a victory." Taijun nodded respectfully. "Thank you, Admiral. But the real heroes were our hounds. They did what our technology could not." General Jeho stepped forward. His scaled face showed no expression, but his voice was different from before, less proud, more respectful. "I was wrong about Earth's combat methods," he said. "When I was trapped by the war spiders, I thought I would die. Then I saw your Team 1 arrive with their hounds, moving through the battlefield like shadows. They got us out when no machine could have reached us." He looked down at Bako. "And this one, this Earth-Bred Hound, did something I thought impossible. He defeated the Herak commander in his own war spider." Bako seemed to sit up straighter, as if he understood the praise. Commander Yoon-suk stepped forward with a small box. "Captain Kim, the Alliance has created a new medal for exceptional courage. This is the first one, and it's for Bako." He opened the box to reveal a shining metal star on a blue ribbon. With Taijun's permission, he placed it around Bako's neck, next to his new collar. The hound stayed perfectly still, as if he knew this was an important moment. "Alliance scientists have studied the remains of the war spider," Admiral Du Hyun continued. "We have learned much about Herak technology, but we have also learned something about ourselves." He looked around at the other council members. "We were too proud of our advanced technology. We forgot that sometimes the old ways still have value." The bond between handler and hound created something our machines could not match: adaptability, instinct, and courage. Taijun smiled slightly. This was a big change from the Admiral who had mocked Earth's combat hounds just weeks ago. "Captain Kim," said Admiral Du Hyun, "I am pleased to inform you that the Council has approved the formation of a new division within our forces. The handler teams will train more combat hounds and develop new tactics. You will lead this division." "Thank you, Admiral," said Taijun. "We will not let you down." "One more thing," added Admiral Du Hyun. "The Herak have retreated completely from our space. Our intelligence suggests that they fear the Earth beasts that defeated their best weapons. It seems your hounds have given us a psychological advantage as well." After the ceremony, Taijun walked with Bako through the halls of the Alliance headquarters. Many people stopped to look at them, some even asking to pet Bako. The hound enjoyed the attention, wagging his tail and accepting pats from alien hands that had once only valued machines. Commander Yoon-suk joined them as they reached the garden area. "Quite a change," he said, gesturing to a group of alien officers who were watching a demonstration by Sergeant Ha-won and her hound Milky. "Yes," agreed Taijun. "It's nice not to be mocked anymore." "Disabling 6 war spiders will do that," said Yoon-suk with a smile. "The Alliance is starting to understand what Earth has always known. A machine can be programmed for loyalty, but it can never truly feel it." Bako looked up at Taijun, then at the medal around his neck. The hound seemed proud, but also ready for the next mission, the next challenge. "You know," said Taijun, patting Bako's head, "on Earth we have an old saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Commander Yunsuk nodded. I think the Herok learned that lesson the hard way. In the distance, they could hear the barking of other combat hounds in training. The sound no longer seemed out of place in the high-tech Alliance base. It was the sound of Earth's contribution to the stars, not advanced machines or amazing technology, but the unbreakable bond between humans and the animals they had lived alongside for thousands of years. And that, as the whole galaxy now knew, was something truly special.